before the ethnic tensions, Solomon Islands called the Happy Isles.
There is really no other experience that matches the circumstances of RAMSI, why it was created, as what RAMSI achieved. Of historical magnitude, without question.
The Forum had very small police services, and to contribute one or two officers to an operation like RAMSI was really an important sacrifice.
RAMSI was about returning to Solomon Islanders a normal and a far better life. A life of safety and security, and one which held out far more promise for the future.
During the detention period, there were a lot of anarchy in this country. There was no law and order. The governance system is not functional. There was no, it wasn't like a country.
Haukeke had been rampaging through the Weather Coast for a number of years. There'd been a large number of savage killings, raids on villages.
My mom's from Malaita and my dad's from Guadalcanal, and the ethnic tension basically was between Malaita and Guadalcanal, and here I was caught in the middle.
And we felt like we were held hostage in our own country and in our own town and community. So there was fear within everyone, especially for women and children.
She said, there are really serious crisis here and we really need some support. And I said, look, I understand that, Mary Louise, but it's really not our policy paradigm. And she said, if you'll forgive the English, we'll change the bloody paradigm. It's not working.
The future of the country is very important. So though my life and that of the life of my family are at risk, and if I could achieve during my time of leadership by calling RAMSI to come to help us out, is the right thing to do.
Coming on board under the intervention is really reassures people of our strong links and connection to the Pacific, and their staying here and their interactions with people also reinforces the message that despite war or whatever disasters of such nature and magnitude, we will always be standing by you and around you all the time.
You really felt that you were part of something bigger than any one person. It was a team that was united across the country, that worked hand in glove with Solomon Islands government. It was a place where you felt you could make a difference every day.
Well, I felt we were closing the book on a highly successful exercise of regional cooperation.
Participation of all forum countries, large and small, was the key to RAMSI's success. RAMSI itself is a shining example of the importance of the collective purpose and the putting together the skills and the abilities of Pacific peoples in demonstration of the spirit of the Pacific region.
In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Solomon Islands descended into civil conflict in a period known as the tensions. The Solomon Islands government asked its Pacific family for help. The Pacific answered the call. The Regional Assistance Mission to Solomon Islands, RAMSI, arrived in peace on July 24, 2003, and departed in friendship on June 30, 2017. Thousands of police, military, and civilian personnel drawn from across the Pacific. 15 contributing countries, 14 years. 7 RAMSI special coordinators. One very special place. Solomon Islands.
During the detention period, there were a lot of anarchy in this country. There is no law and order. The governance system is not functional. There was no, it wasn't like a country. You know, it's people are run here and there. People were not able to live in a peaceful way. Everyone sort of very scared at the, a different situation that they face with, which involved tragedies and, so a lot of things were not in order. And I will summarize it by saying that this whole place was living in anarchy. During RAMSI period here in the Solomon Islands, a lot of good things, professionally and personally, I have experienced working alongside colleagues from the police and also from the RAMSI as a whole. A lot of good work that they've been put in place, in particular restoring law and order, the governance system, working towards improving the economy of the country, improving business sectors. So they have done a lot of good work in terms of rebuilding the whole country, apart from restoring law and order. It's a new birth for a country. The mission in itself has a major impact because of the contributions that Pacific Islands participated in the mission. As you know, that Solomon Islands is a Pacific island, but also has some connections in terms of culture, the customs and values and the way they think and do things, but in a Pacific way. So when the Pacific Islands form part of the mission, they've contributed in a way that some of the things that they have undertook are quite difficult to explain because it's more understanding naturally. So they have contributed in a way that helped the mission to succeed in the way they understand the people here. Because as you know, Solomon Islands is a diverse country made out of different peoples. People come from different cultures. So it's quite a very interesting mission. It has a lot of interesting observations with the people that I work with. I work with different officers from different Pacific Islands. There are a lot of commonalities I have observed, the way we do policing, how they interact, how they relate to the local people. So that's what I have seen during those times when they came in as part of the mission. I think the mission in itself has a very unique and niche approach to a situation that never been approached in that context. But having observed the way the mission was conducted in this country, they put a lot of good work in place for the country to take it through. But it's up to the country to build on those work that RAMSI had put in place for the country. If they wanted to go backwards, it's up to the country's leadership of the country to do that. But I would be very sad to see all the hard work that RAMSI put in place for the 20 years that they've been in country to try and rebuild this country. It's something that we Solomon Islanders should be proud of and should continue to build on those momentum that they have done for us. And I think that's what I would like to appreciate the countries, the leaders of those countries who have put together their personnel and sent them over to this country to help them. And that really reflect on the theme, the heading of the RAMSI is helping friend. That word really reflected of the multi organizations that came together and help another country to build up during times that they were not able to stand as a country.
Well, thank you both for a start, for those very kind words you offered. Thank you in particular, Henry. The absolute pleasure and privilege to have served with you.
Well, Tulama, welcome and thank you very much for joining us. From your time as Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Forum, what were your reflections of RAMSI as an example of regional security cooperation?
RAMSI was and is uniquely Pacific. There is really no other experience that matches the circumstances of RAMSI, why it was created, and what RAMSI achieved. Of historical magnitude, without question, and by the clear measure of its success, that is, success in restoring law and order, rebuilding national institutions, stabilizing the economy, and improving essential community services, particularly the critical ones, health and education. So it was, RAMSI was an event of the most critical importance to the life and the security of a nation and its people. And I would have to say, for all Pacific communities, RAMSI would be the highest demonstration of the value and I think the true meaning of Pacific regionalism. RAMSI was about returning to Solomon Islanders a normal and a far better life. A life of safety and security, and one which held out far more promise for the future. RAMSI had a very clear mission, and it was to work together with the people and the government of the Solomon Islands to build a secure, well-governed, and a prosperous nation.
Thank you, Tulama. RAMSI was endorsed at the outset and supported by the Pacific Islands Forum throughout its life. And RAMSI had representation from all forum members. How important was that regional character to the success of the mission?
The involvement and participation of all forum countries, large and small, was the key to RAMSI's success. RAMSI itself is a shining example of the importance of the collective purpose and the putting together the skills and the abilities of Pacific peoples in demonstration of the spirit of the Pacific region. It also, I think, reminds us that no one country can manage their own future alone in today's world. Peace and security at the regional level are too closely, too inextricably linked to peace and stability in respective member countries, and these are shared interests which bring shared responsibility to assist in times of great need. And I think it is this the spirit of the Bikatawa Declaration that led to the success of RAMSI. You know, the eventual closure of RAMSI was perhaps a technical thing. You know, it had to end. But what was left in its place was, if not lasting peace and security for the Solomon Islands and its people, then certainly the foundation for it. But even more lasting, I believe, is what I have seen, and I've seen it around the region, of the personal and the professional relations between Pacific people of all countries and disciplines who had served in the RAMSI operations. I have seen Australians and New Zealand security professionals serving or assisting island governments on security matters, including my own, as I have seen Samoans with high-ranking experience in RAMSI's service now serving in senior police and security positions in Samoa. You mentioned, I think, the Commissioner of Police, or Professor Peebles did. That's one example of a now senior Samoan who served in RAMSI with great distinction, I think. So truly, I think RAMSI was extraordinary in the Pacific visioning and humanity. Historically and spiritually, I consider RAMSI a legacy of true Pacific regionalism.
Well, it was memorable time for me, reflecting back during the time I was with RAMSI. And I was very fortunate that I was the last Pacific Island contingent commander that took over the role from a superintendent from Fiji at the time. It was a memorable experience for me to actually work with 13 other police officers from different islands around the Pacific. And it was quite an experience that I had. And I was the commander at the time for them. Privilege for me to actually working alongside them and be able to have that opportunity to share my experience with them and also mentor them. One of the biggest part of that mentoring role is to maintain law and order. No matter where you are, your police officer, our role is to actually focus on maintenance of law and order in each country. We are the security, and also we need to protect that democracy, and also looking after for the communities that are looking up at you for that leadership role in their communities. And what actually happened back then, we just don't want to go back to the start of what happened, but we're just gonna have to move on. But the most exciting part for me was actually providing that mentoring role and guiding them along the way and providing advice to them when they need it. And it was a worthwhile experience for me as well. But they were also, actually provide me with their insights as well of what they think in accordance with the Solomon Islands culture. One of the things that you need, the strength of the mission was the diversity of, all those Pacific Islands contributing to one common goal, is try and help a friend that is in need at the time. and everyone contributed their officers, and actually were on the ground at the time. And it's one of those life experience that you can never forget. Serving in another foreign land and assisting a friend that was actually in need of to restore law and order at the time, and especially with the community leading that leadership in the region. So it was a very unique experience.
And Commissioner, how did Solomon Islanders respond to you and to other members of the Pacific Islands contingent when you were out and about in the Solomon Islands community?
Well, they really appreciate, especially us Pacific Islanders who go out and do those community engagement for them. It's like they appreciate one of their own. As a Pacific Islander, they will look at you as another Pacific Islander, and they'll think, okay, so we have Pacific Island officers who are here working alongside our RSIPF in trying to build their capacity. And they were very welcoming. And also at the time, they were sort of happy that there are other Pacific Islanders working alongside their officers as well, and actually mentoring them and advising them on what to do. And it gives them that confidence and trust that RSIPF is now heading into the right direction with that rebuilding of the RSIPF at the time in those last 3 years of the mission.
And what did you take back from your RAMSI experience when you returned to policing in Samoa?
Okay. Well, it's one of those questions. I've learned a lot when I was there in Solomon Islands those 3 years. I was fortunate enough that I was sitting in the executive in an executive role. Not only I was actually learning from the Australian Federal Police officers who were actually there as well, but also from the New Zealand contingent commander. So having the Australian Federal Police, the New Zealand contingent commander, and then myself as the Pacific Island commander, there it was a very good experience, learning experience for me to take back home in the context of Samoa as well, in terms of if this kind of situation ever occurs in Samoa or any other Pacific country, at least you were in there and you actually learned a lot. And I did take some back home, a lot of knowledge and skills that I've learned from the mission. And from the cultural side, I also learned a lot from the Solomon Islands culture as well, which I did not know. I thought that it was Pacific Islands, but when I got there were Polynesians, Melanesians, and also Micronesians. So it was an experience that I could never forget.
And how did you feel on that last day of RAMSI as the mission concluded for you?
Well, it was mixed emotions at the time. I was sad, but also happy that finally that what we're actually doing here has now come to the end, and we're actually seeing the fruits of the work we have been doing. And it gives me confidence as well that when I leave Solomon Islands, at least I leave with happy memories, and also that the RSIPF, now the communities have the confidence in them to actually provide that security to the people of the Solomon Islands. So it was sad but happy as well that you're going back home, but also you're taking with you some of the memories that you had alongside working alongside not only to the other Pacific members, but especially the RSIPF. Why the reason you were deployed to the Solomon Islands is to provide that safety and security to the people and to the community of Solomon Islands. And the highlight of my 3 years in Solomon Islands was when I did a presentation to
to the members of parliament right inside the parliament house and actually gave them the confidence that, yes, I can say from a Pacific Island perspective that the RSIPF is ready to take over the security of the country. And we are here as well. If we need us, we will still be here. And we will not gonna let you go. Whenever there's a need again, we will be happy to come back again to assist.
There came a day in my time as special coordinator when every single member of the Pacific Islands Forum had announced its intention or were providing personnel to the participating police force. And it was a great day for the obvious reason that all members were now part of this mission, but particularly because when you bear in mind that some members of the forum have very small police services, and to contribute 1 or 2 officers to an operation like RAMSI was really an important sacrifice, really a significant gesture to make. But what it said to us on the ground was that the leaders of all the countries in the forum now have confidence in RAMSI. They have confidence that RAMSI is doing good work, that it is meeting the need of Solomon Islands, and hopefully that it's being well led. So I think both symbolically, but also in a very practical sense, this was, I think it was a great achievement. It really represented, I think, one of the most comprehensive examples of regional security cooperation in the history of the Pacific Islands Forum.
We often talk about RAMSI's strengths, and one of its key strengths was its regional character. And nowhere did you see that more than at the RAMSI base, where at any given time we'd have police officers and other staff from all 15 Pacific Island countries serving as part of the RAMSI contingent. One of the lovely things about working in a regional mission was having the opportunity to meet all these incredible people from around the Pacific. And if I can give you a little bit of a flavour of what it was like working and living on the RAMSI base up near the airport in Honiara, there would always be music playing somewhere. Someone would crack out a guitar or form a choir. There was always people doing island dancing down on the waterfront. We would have sort of, largely friendly, good-natured sports competitions, basketball games, volleyball. You'd have officers and staff from all over the place on their bikes going around the RAMSI track. But one of the funny stories I can tell about that was the participating police force at that time was mounting a very strong speeding campaign, and some of the cyclists were frankly travelling faster than the allowed 10 kilometres per hour speed limit around the RAMSI base. And so many of my regional colleagues found themselves with speeding tickets, as a bit of an in joke, I suppose. But it really was a lovely atmosphere, a really collegiate atmosphere, and I think that the very sort of colourful characters that we had from all around the Pacific, those friendships have lasted decades and are still present today. I mean, RAMSI created friendships and relationships across the entire region that I think we can be really proud of now.